couple of days ago, Western Australia and England, lasted just a fraction more than 2 days.
The breeze just helping Hogg slightly to move it into the batsman. He is predominantly an in-slanting type of bowler. Breeze blowing from approximately the top right-hand corner of your picture.
And no run. There was a good save by Wood at short backward leg. And the applause from what's building up to a fairly substantial crowd here on the first morning. And the first over of the second test is a maiden. Dimmock here to bowl to Gooch. And appeal for leg before. They're taking a run. That reaction was behind the wicket. Let's see. If that was a run, it was off the bat, so no hope of a leg before appeal. But that's the first run of the game. Gooch is one, Boycott yet to score. England, after being sent in, none for one.
Yes, I was under the impression there that it wasn't a bad LBW appeal because I thought the ball hit the pad first before it went onto the bat.
Now to Boycott. And this time an appeal, but not out. Umpire Brooks at this end.
Well, Geoff Boycott's looking down the wicket, and well he might, because that ball came back like a fast off-spinner. That really did move an awful lot. Boycott, I think, missed it by a foot. It would have missed the leg stump, I think, by the same margin, but certainly did move.
An appeal for leg before this time again, but not out. And a run here to Boycott. Here's first. They're going down towards fine leg. They've taken one, and they're coming back for a second. It's Hogg fielding. So Boycott is 2, Gooch 1, none for 3.
Boycott played that very well because, in fact, the ball did move again off the seam. Boycott getting well across there on his stumps, you can see, but he's opening his stance as though he's facing the angle in which Dimmock is coming in.
An appeal for leg before again, and not out. Tom Brooks, who takes a long time, just put up the arm or hand to hold the hat that time. That must have sent a tremor through Boycott's knees. Far end to Hogg. He'll bowl to Gooch. And a pair caught behind. He walked. So Gooch caught McLean. Bowled Hogg 1. Boycott not out 2. England 1 for 3. And he didn't even wait for the appeal.
No, the deflection was very wide indeed there, with Gooch playing for the in-swinger. Here's Hogg bowling the ball into Gooch, and Gooch plays at the ball. It leaves him off the wicket. He looks around. He knows he's hit it. He's walking now. Even before Hogg raised his arms in jubilation, you can see Gooch had walked away from the crease. And so yet another failure is chalked up against the name of Graham Gooch in this Test match series, not having too happy a tour.
And in comes the real form batsman for England in Derek Randall. Here's the applause for him. Randall, who got a 70 in each innings in Brisbane. He was named as the man of the match. He comes in now at a bit of a crisis for England. Hogg now has the figures of 1 for none.
And is bowling exceptionally well. And that was one of the few deliveries that Hogg has made go the other way. He made that one go towards the slips, whereas normally he's been making the ball come into the right-handed batsman. And it took Graham Gooch completely by surprise. So 1 for 3, and already Yallop's decision to send the opposition into bat has paid dividends. The England batsmen out there definitely struggling very hard against this pace attack under humid, overcast conditions, and obviously on a pitch where there is a little bit of movement in the surface, and on a surface which is not really making life very easy for the batsmen. Randall, of course, there you see his tests. His highest score, that was in the centenary test. And he really is in form. Century against New South Wales and a good double in the first test.
And one that really lifted.
I think Randall will be hoping that umpire Baylash doesn't warn Hogg again for running on the wicket. That was a vicious bouncer. Not badly directed either. It was just outside the off stump. Randall was going in behind the ball and suddenly found himself having to go the opposite way.
Interesting point about that ball, Frank. The definition of a bouncer is shoulder high. That was just on the height, wasn't it?
Yes, above shoulder height is the definition.
And up in the air, it could be caught by Wood, and he's out. Listen to that roar. Randall caught Wood, bowled Hogg, no score. Boycott not out 2, England 2 for 3.
Well, that was a change of mind shot from Derek Randall. I think he was going to try to hook that ball. He changed his mind, stopped his shot, and as a result, played no shot at all, just simply scooping the ball up into the air to present that quite simple catch to Graham Wood. And that is a tremendous psychological blow for Australia, because Randall, as Norman May has told you, has been the man in form. There's the ball. He's going to hook. Then he's suddenly changed his mind, possibly thinking the ball was not coming up as high as he expected, and consequently didn't get over it. He's agonizing now as Wood was taking the ball.
So Mike Brearley coming in, Brearley at number 4 for England.
Well, Mike Brearley, opening bat normally, having dropped himself down in the order since the New Zealand series in England, now finds himself coming in a position which is virtually tantamount to being an opening batsman. 2 wickets down for 3. And the Australian bowlers very much on top.
Hogg to Brearley.
And Hogg certainly has got his tail up at the moment. As well he might.
Darling out in the covers, no run. And that's the end of Hogg's 3rd over. Here's the applause for it. Hogg, 3 overs, 3 maidens, 2 for none. And runs here. Chase for Yallop. They've taken 1 into single only. So Boycott onto 3, and the total moving to 4. 4 runs to England, to the loss of 2 wickets and just on half an hour of play. Hogg to start his 4th over from the far end, and he'll bowl to Boycott. And no run. That's Darling, who's very fast in the covers. An appeal for leg before, not out. Umpire Baylash shaking his head.
Close, but not quite close enough. Wide on the crease, as you can see Hogg, the ball going across the batsman. And I would think from the angle he's bowled it at, it was going down the leg side. It looks in line with the stumps from where we are, but you've got to take into consideration the fact that Hogg was fairly wide on the crease, and the angle was far more pronounced than you saw it on that occasion through the replay.
Boycott again, best part of 3/4 of an hour for his 3 runs, facing Hurst. Another big shout going up. And that found the outside edge there, moved away, just dropping short there.
Yes, well, we spoke about it in Brisbane, Jim, but here it is again, the fieldsman too deep. Let's have a look at the replay. Boycott shuffling across. Wide, he knocked to it, and it's dropped short of Bruce Yardley. Well short, but we can have a look at those slips. Let's have another shot of it from front on. As you can see, Boycott well away from that one.
It shows there's still some movement there. That's beautifully taken down the leg side, rather flicking the pad, I would have thought. And that's edge, as it carried. No, Kozier slip signals that he picked that up on the half volley.
Once again, here it is in replay, well away from his body and dropping short, and we can't have this occurring. The Australian fieldsmen have got to do something about their slips cordon. It's up to the captain to adjust it.
There's an over-pitched ball. It's only just prodded away by Brearley, but at least it gets him away. Boycott coming back, going to make it into 2 for Brearley. And that's beaten the bowler. I think it's the first runs coming from that far end. Boycott will take 2 for it. So the best part of 55 minutes before we've seen a run scored from a bowler going in from that far end.
Just shows you, Jim, how easy in fact it is. He just pushed forward there, no problem at all. 2 runs every time.
First again to Boycott. He's pushed safely through mid-wicket, just a single this time. And that single at long last takes England into double figures. The 2 men back. Gooch out for a single, Randall without scoring. Another shout, but again it seemed to me to have wandered a long way outside off stump. Just depends a little bit how far he got when it hit him.
Yes, it's not easy to see from that angle, but here we can have a better look. Probably worth a shout that
Reasonable
time.
shout,
yes. Going a bit too
very
high.
Fair shout.
The runs here. Darling getting chased from cover. Got 1. Back for a comfortable 2, and that'll be all. Really goes to 7, 2 for 26.
I suppose the only thing interesting Hogg now is when are they going to get a run off me and break my duck. 2 wickets for no runs, and that's been up there for almost 2 hours.
And he's bowling his 6 over. That's a very good ball, but it was definitely a mixture of bat and pad, a stifled appeal.
Here we go again, and it's a good delivery, this one, and this has been going on, especially the first hour of the morning. This was going on all the time. It cut back rather sharply, that one, and it would have no doubt whizzed past the leg stump. This has been some real fine bowling on by the 3, Dimmick, Hurst and Hogg. It's been Gallup's kept the pressure up, and these 3 men have bowled very well.
Hogg to Brearley. A single. That's Wood coming away from short leg field. So that's the first run of Hogg, who has bowled. This is his 6 over, and it's the first run coming this morning. Can a chance, was it? Tui, backward square. Now, was that off the bat?
I'd say it was off the bat or glove, but I'm just wondering whether it carried.
And in the air over the head of slips, it's safe, and it's going down to the boundary for one of the rare fours in this game. Really taking strike on 17. And a chance for caught behind. He's out. Really caught McLean. Bowled Dimmock for 17. Boycott not out 19. It's 3 for 41, and Dimmock has 1 for 19.
He deserved that. Dimmock really deserved that. I think we got to a situation where Brearley now was really fancying Dimmock, and he goes for this shot off the back foot. The ball short of a length, angled across him, and there's Brearley trying to force it away into the offside, and as a result gets a thick edge that flew through to keeper McLean.
Now Dimmock to bowl to Gower. And runs for him straight away. There'll be a couple here. That's a chase for Yardley, and they come back for 2. So Gower 2, Boycott 19, 3 for 43. And again the square cut, but take the pace taken off it by Yallop. Well, that was a beautiful shot by Gower. He really got onto that. Only a single. He goes to 3, and it's 3 for 44.
That was, in fact, vintage Gower. That's precisely the way that he plays.
And that was a nasty one now.
Well, I think that's hit him in the helmet. And it's rather a good job that Gower had that helmet on. Let's see where it does strike him, in fact. He goes down, and I think it did. It hit him on the head. And it was a very good job that he had that helmet on. There it is, going past the shoulder of his bat. It was a good bouncer. It was outside the off stump.
And in the air, but safe. There'll be 1 and 2 possibly. Yes, they're coming back for a second. As Hurstfield, and 2 more to go. He goes on to 5. 3 for 46. And beautifully stopped there by Wood. A clever piece of work. But, an applause from Western Australian crowd here.
Good delivery from Hogg. It seemed to move back into Gower, as you can see. And again, Gower was going over to the offside. The ball followed him. And he almost did a one-handed sort of desperation stroke.
And in the air and wide. Just wide of third slip, down to the fence for 4. There was a dive there by Yardley. He couldn't touch it. I don't think he got a finger to it. And into the fence for 4, and Gower goes to 9, and that's the 50 up for England. 3 for 50.
And what a good ball again from Hogg. A ball that pitched and moved off the seam. Gower, committed to his back foot defence, could do nothing more than just deflect it through the slips, and it's wide there, as you saw, of Yardley at that 4th slip position. 3rd slip position, I beg your pardon. There it is again.
Hurst now to Gower. And moved across nicely, whipped that away, square on the leg side, and they'll get 2 very comfortable runs. Well, found the 1 man there on the offside. Rick Darling placed perfectly for that off drive. That's over pitch, driven beautifully through mid-off. Super shot there by David Gower, racing away down to the stands, and Darling giving it up. So about the best shot we've seen played out here today. Takes Gower on to 25 and brings him level with Boycott. And the medium plays Cozier, and Boycott pushing out there. Not knowing very much about it. Gets an inside edge and will scramble 2 for it. In fact, they'll get more. There's overthrows coming in. Made it to 3. It could be an all-run 4 here.
That's a good-looking stroke. Beautiful pull shot. It's 4 to Gower. He goes on to 29, and it's 3 for 83. There's a beautiful flashing square drive. It's 4 more to Gower. Or is it? The outfield's pretty slow, so he's giving chase, but he won't quite make it.
Well, what's happened? 2 fours in 1 over. Things are happening out here, and that was another great shot by Gower.
And the hook shot all along the ground, beautifully kept down. It's a long chase down there. But Dimmock across for 2. Boycott's wanting 3, but Gower from this end said no. So Boycott goes to 35, and it's 3 for 95.
Very good shot. He's not the greatest hook in the world, but he got above that and kept it down, as the textbook shows. Oh.
There's a loud appeal, but they say not out. Great disappointment shown there by Hurst and the Australian fieldsman. Boycott just waving the back at that.
Now, what's this? Shocking shot, this by Boycott. Absolutely horrible after the last one. Everything's wrong. Oh. Well, I've seen Geoff Boycott bat for many, many innings, and I saw him make 103 in 1 day, batted all day against New Zealand at Headingley a few years ago. And I thought that was the most painful innings I have ever seen. I think he's going to eclipse that quite easily here, because he's only 35 runs and it's almost tea time.
Hogg to Gower. Runs down the leg side. 1. And back for 2. It's Dimmock throwing there at fine leg. So the 100 up for England. 3 for 100.
And a fine shot for his 50. That's racing out towards the boundary. It mightn't be 4. That's Tui after it. And they've taken 2 and looking for 3. So Gower 52. And they go for a run. There's no run there. There's a shot at the stumps and hit the stumps. Is not out. Must have been very close.
Gower going for the drive, edges, square. Hogg's there, picks up, returns in 1 movement, and we see that Gower had dived. In fact, the return did not hit the stumps. This was Dimmock's, 17th over, so he's had a long spell today.
And a run to Boycott. He may look for 2 here, as the fieldsman's got a long run in. Hurst, and Boycott goes on to 46. 3 for 123. Gower gave Boycott about 2 hours and 20 minutes start, and now he's 9 runs ahead of him. And wide of the keeper. Good attempt by McLean. When it reached him, I don't think at catching height, but it's a single. He goes to 47, and he's the only spinner in this Australian team.
That's right. In fact, there's no one else to bowl in the Australian side apart from people who've already bowled. There's no one with any pretense whatsoever to bowling.
And Boycott shot flicked away backward of square. Chase for Hughes. This might not be 4, but I think they'll get 3. Turning for an easy 3. And that's Boycott's 50. 50 in 4 hours and 37 minutes.
To round the wicket now to Gower. And driven quite beautifully between mid-on and the bowler. Really looked the man in form here today. 141 the score. The last wicket going down at 41. The partnership exactly 100. Oh, he's placed that rather cutely. On top of it, chopped it down past second slip, and that'll run away for 4.
Hogg round the wicket to the left-handed Gower. There's a good drive. Darling giving chase. They've got 1. Back for 2. Do they want the 3rd? No.
Oh, what a shot. What a shot.
Beautiful square cut for 4. Superbly timed. Gower on 87, facing Hogg. Up in the air, but it's safe. Square on the offside. 4 ball. Gower 91, 3 for 176. All through, Gallop at gully there. He certainly got his hands to that. It was a very, very stiff chance. He hit it like a bullet. And Gower gets 2 runs. He goes to 97. There's the clock. And they're the players who are out today. Gooch for 1. Randall no scored, really 17. Oh. That's a beautiful on drive. That'll be 100. That's 4 runs. It's a beautiful shot by David Gower to get his 100. He goes up to 101. And England now are 3 for 189.
Well played, young fella. Beautiful innings. Beautiful knock. That is well worth watching. That is, you couldn't wish to see a better stroke into position. England being 2 wickets for 3 runs, and Boycott just bottling up one end. Here's the stroke again. Watch this. Absolutely perfectly timed. Hit the ground just after it hit the bat, and off it sizzled to the fence.
England, having been put into bat at stumps, are 3 for 190. Gower is 101, and Boycott 63.
So Boycott on 63. There's the ball. That's the first runs of the day from the bat. The 2 runs here for Boycott. Just steered it wide of gully. Comes back very comfortably for the second run. More runs there for Boycott. Push that smartly between the 2 short legs. Only be a single this time. And here's the danger man, in my view, for the Australians here this morning. Rodney Hogg, who's been such a find for Australian cricket this year. Bowled really well, particularly in his early spell here yesterday. 2 for 41. He's turning his attention now to Boycott at the far end. Very gentle, medium-pace loosener there.
Hogg yesterday showed us that he could cut the ball into the right-hander from outside the off stump. I wonder if he can do it today.
Not far away from the finer of the 2 short legs, but played with sufficient skill for Boycott to take a single. The first no ball of the morning, and the first runs from it to David Gower. He's pushed quietly away on the onside. Hogg round the wicket to Boycott. Just nudge that away through the short legs. Just a single in it.
You see that England have added 9 runs to their overnight score in something like 31 minutes.
And he's gone. Now Hogg strikes through, breaks this long partnership. 4 men out now for 199, and Gower goes after only adding 1 run this morning, but for all that, it's been a superb 102.
Well, all I can say to Jim Laker's comments is here. Here's the replay of that dismissal. Hogg bowling around the wicket, wide on the crease, as you can see, angling the ball into the left-hander. Let's see if it straightens. It's coming into him now, and it does straighten, doesn't it? We saw Gower there playing about middle stump. The ball cutting away from him took the off stump. We did see yesterday Hogg bowl a few of those deliveries. Again, closer this time. We're getting a real bird's eye view here. And as you can see, it was a pretty good delivery. I wouldn't have liked to have faced that.
Good delivery, that, Frank, from a bowler of that sort of pace. I must say, as an off-spinner, I wouldn't have minded bowling that. But to do it at 90-odd miles an hour is a superb piece of bowling.
A great round of applause for David Gower. 21-year-old left-hander from Leicestershire.
So Ian Botham has made his way out quietly to the wicket. See his test record there. 300 is made in 12 test matches, averaging 42. On the other hand, Hogg bowls one like that, England could be in a bit of trouble here. Gow's innings of 102 took 248 minutes, included 9 boundaries, and he received 220 balls. So 2 right-handers in now. Botham's first ball from Hogg, sticking to this round the wicket attack. And applause for Rodney Hogg, who once again for Australia has burst through as he did here yesterday, and as he did so very, very well up at Queensland.
So what will Botham's tactics be, I wonder? I suppose I rather anticipate, and probably Jim Laker will say the same thing, I think Botham will play his natural game.
Well, I think it'd be foolish not to, Frank. It's the only way he plays, and it's the way he's successful. And Boycott too is playing his natural game here at the moment. And if he sees another day out, he must be online for the slowest ever Test match 100. Spirited shouts again going up there from the slip fielders, but
there we see the ball. No, he didn't hit it, but he was well forward and the point of contact outside off stump.
There's the right hand coming into play again, whipping it away through mid-wicket. And Botham can move a bit quickly through the wickets. He'll make his ground quite comfortably. So the 200 coming up for England, 4 for 201, with Boycott finally moving into the 70s.
Oh, a sign of aggression. And a hook shot from Boycott. It's 1, fielded there by Hogg, back for 2.
Well, was that a vision before my eyes? Is that right, Boycott really slashed one?
He's off the mark. 1 to Botham, fielded there by Hurst. He is 1. Boycott is 74, 11 sundries. It's 4 for 206. Off the edge, there's runs. Chased by Yardley. And 2 runs to Boycott. He goes on to 76. England 4 for 210. And whilst the players are enjoying their drinks, let's go down to Wally Foreman.
I'm sure the most concerned man at the WACA ground was the English captain, Mike Brearley. But Mike, things certainly look a lot rosier at the moment.
They certainly do. I mean, at this stage yesterday, we could easily have been out for less than 100.
You must have been very pleased with the batting of David Yao.
Beautiful innings. He's a perfect timer of the ball, and he applied himself well. It's a magnificent 100.
He's proving to be something of a test trump card, isn't he?
He is. He doesn't bother about the other matches. It'll do for us if he keeps scoring 100 in the test matches and getting 0 in the other matches.
Mike, were you perhaps a little disappointed with the run rate yesterday afternoon?
No. I mean, if you can go on 4 and over, that's all well and good. But if they bowl as well as Australia did and the pitch does as much, I think we did jolly well.
And there were no perils in the wicket?
There were plenty.
So you'd be looking forward to bowling on it?
Well, I think yesterday morning with the cloud was probably at its best for bowling. But it's still done a bit today, and, you know, your lads have beaten the bat a few times.
Just looking at the early part of the English innings, Mike, it would appear that you do still have some gremlins in the high order batting.
Now, any side in the world who batted on that pitch yesterday morning against that bowling would have struggled. I'd just like people to realise that. It's not, if you go in and the ball seams about and swings about and goes through, some bounce and some don't, any players in the world, you've got the best defensive opening batsman in the world in Geoff Boycott, and he struggled like anything for an hour and a half. I know he's a bit out of form, but, you know, you bowl against Bradman on there, you get him out.
True, you must have been impressed then with the bowling of Rodney Hogg in particular?
Yes, and I think we'd have bowled even better on it.
And you'd be looking forward to probably having a shot at the Australians sometime late this afternoon?
Well, we don't know when.
Well, ideally,
want a few more runs.
Realistically, what would you like to see happen today?
I suppose it would be very nice if we got about 400 and had you 30 for 5. That'd do.
And that's probably very realistic. Thanks very much for your time, Mike.
Thanks a lot.
Ball bouncing a little bit.
Well, the only thing I can see that Australia at advantage, having said England and batters, this pitch is getting easier for batting, and by the time the Australians bat, it should be very placid. There's that ball. You watch it pops a little. Man in close might have snaffled that one, but to put a man in close to this man, it's putting his life in danger. Such as that.
There's a beautiful hook shot. That's 4 runs. Good giving chase. The ball is slowing down, but I don't think he'll catch it. Or will he? Touch and go. No, it's just over the line. That gives you a fair indication of the outfield. A little bit slow. We talked about the showers overnight. It certainly has slowed down the outfield a little bit. But Botham goes on to 6. It's 4 for 214.
I was just saying just before that stroke that put a man in close, that's putting his life in danger, and you can see exactly the next ball what I meant, because that is a beautiful shot, a short arm jab, hit across that and hit it beautifully, as you can see. When you look at the Australian attack there, it's not very strong. You've got Dimmick, Hurst, Hogg, Cozy. Well, if you call him a bowler, well, I wouldn't really call him a bowler of any class. Oh.
Another hook shot. Again, that's not timed really well, and it won't go for 4. Wood giving chase. They cross for 2, and they're coming back for 3. Botham goes to 9. It's 4 for 217. Beautiful return from Graham Wood. Warm applause from the crowd. Hurst to Botham. Beautiful off drive. Certainly won't be 4. Across for 1, back for 2. Darling giving chase. There he is. 2 runs. Botham goes to 11. 4 for 219.
I think you'll find that Yallop will switch his field around now, that both of them are starting to hit the ball. Some of those men from slips will be coming out, and there's a lot of open space in front of the wicket. It's a beautiful stroke. Look at that. Perfect stroke. Already Yallop starting to bring the men out, and if he tosses one short, there's a ton of room on the onside, and this fella hooks well. Plenty of room for him to hook.
Very loud appeal, and that is out. So Botham is out. LBW to Hurst for 11, and England are now 5 for 219.
That was plum. I would say that's absolutely plum. And for Tom Brooks, who turned down appeal after appeal after appeal yesterday, that one would have hit about the middle stump, I'd reckon, from our position here. There it goes. Well, you saw it, and oddly enough, a few yesterday looked very adjacent like that one and turned down. But anyhow, the danger man is out, Botham, because he just started to play some very fine strokes. Scored 11 runs, but he looked very effective. There we go.
There you see Geoffrey Miller from Derbyshire, the all-rounder. Oh, it was a good delivery. My goodness, that was close.
This ball just leaving the batsman ever so slightly. Miller playing down the wrong line here. Fortunately for him, close to stumps, close to outside edge, and not close enough from the Australians' point of view, though. In fact, really, the bowler should be trying all the time to be well up to Geoff, because he tends to play back these days too often, and he's been the victim of quite a few LBW decisions this season already.
Now, further field change. Tui's moved away from short fine leg to third slip, so there are only 3 men now on the onside. An appeal for leg before, and out. Boycott's out. Leg before to Hurst for 77. A monumental performance by Boycott. He batted for 7.5 hours. For 77, just a minute or 2 under that. And here it is, the end of Geoff Boycott. A tremendous performance in terms of patience. And Boycott is out, and Australia right back in this game at 6 for 224. And Hurst has 2 for 56.
Exactly what we're talking about. We'll see the replay now. Ball well up. Boycott shuffling back and across where he should have been pushing forward. As you'll see, that's well up. And there's no doubt whatsoever about that. Once again, as we're talking about, Norman, the ball not bouncing as high today. That one yesterday would have hit the top of the pads, just below the roll.
And here's the applause for Geoff Boycott as he leaves the scene after one of the longest innings in Test history. 7 hours and 28 minutes for 77. This is Taylor, the English wicketkeeper. And that's almost bowled him, hasn't it? How did it miss the stumps? How did that miss? It went down from outside the off stump to finish at fine leg. And that was off the bat.
Yes, I thought it just went down the leg side a little bit, Norman. Here we can see he's pushing forward. I think it gets the inside edge through, and this is what threw John McLean. You can see how far it's deviating now, going further away. They're terribly difficult catches.
Well, runs here, there'll be a couple. A long chase for Wood from just the short leg position. They come back for an easy 2, and Taylor goes on to 7. It's 6 for 238. Now the wind for Yardley coming in from that end is going quite strongly left to right when we look at the opposite view. He gave that some air and it's been driven away fairly well. A long chase for Darling. Darling's really fast. Now they've taken 2. Let's see if they want 3. They're going and they'll get them easily.
There's a friendly full pitch, put away quite nicely by Miller, driven straight. I think they might just have taken a little bit of sting off it, but not sufficient to prevent it going through for 4. So the 250 coming up for England, 6 men out, 252 the score, with Miller on 12 and Taylor now on 11. That's a chance. Down the outside edge, the diver McLean couldn't grab hold of it. And Rodney Hogg doesn't think much about the game of cricket at the moment. Interesting to see if this would have gone to slip, Frank.
Yes, it's wide there, a thick edge, and I think he probably would have gone to slip. It looked as though McLean was very late moving to that, and that would have certainly travelled to first slip. Yes, that was a bad miss. Sort of chance that one expects to be taken. Funny thing is that the first slip and the keeper are standing very close together, aren't they?
Very close indeed. And that's out this time. Yardley takes a wicket. Taylor goes for the big hit. It was quite out of character and he snapped up at mid-wicket. So England 7 for 253 with Taylor falling for 12.
I think Hogg probably did all the work, but it was Yardley who got the wicket. Taylor going down the pitch, attempting to hit a ball wide of the off stump, over mid-wicket. In fact, the ball probably didn't spin very much, which resulted in Taylor not hitting it at all cleanly.
So we're getting down to the ruts and mice now, as they say. This is John Lever. Up the other end, and it's a wonderful throw, very close indeed to Lever. He's just making his ground, going quite casually. Lovely piece of work in the field. Well, that's hooked away by Miller, dropped it short, and no problems at all with nobody back there. 3 short legs in, and Miller tucks it away and collects a boundary down to long leg. Crushed through the area between slips and gully, and it's 4 more.
And a chance, and caught by Cozier. Lever caught Cozier, bowled Hurst for 14. Miller not out 35. 8 for 295. And beaten the offside field. That's a nice looking shot. Darling may not get this. It may beat him out through the over the line. It goes. Yes, 4 to Miller. That's 299 the total. Yes, he'll get a single. And that's the 300 up for England. England 8 for 300, with Miller on 40 and Willis yet to score. Bowled in, clean bowl. A beautiful ball. That really was a good ball. Miller bowled by Hogg for 30. England 9 for 300. And Hogg has 4 for 52. That was a magnificent ball. And away it goes. Who's underneath it? The mid-on. It's Hurst calling for it. Yallop's under it and caught. Great catch.
Well, that stayed an awful long while in the air. Here it is now. Bob Willis this time winding up again. Straight up in the air. As you can see Friday swing, and look at the eyes of the players, and Hurst really should have been his cap, but now he's calling for his captain. He's come over, and Yallop's grasped it there, very relieved.
Now there's Hogg leading the team in. He finished with 5.
Well, the first ball of this Australian innings to Wood. Well, he's given him plenty of opportunity there outside the off stump.
Yes, I shudder to think what will happen if one comes the other way. That was a good ball.
Came very, very close then to get in an edge. So Ian Botham is the bowler at the river end.
Well, this is quite an extraordinary choice of an opening attack, isn't it? Lever and Botham with Willis and Hendrick in your side.
I think if we permutated this opening attack between all the experts set up here, would have all been wrong. So Ian Botham with 70 test wickets in 12 test matches. 4 slips in the gully, waiting for the edge. And another shout and a shake of the head from Robin Baelish up there. And the only reply being a leg bye signalled. That's a lovely shot. Over-pitched ball driven squarely and firmly on the offside. Guy giving chase, and Darling, very quick between the wickets as he has in the field, has made 3 runs there for Graham Wood. Well, he went through with the shot this time. Didn't quite middle it, but got on top of it, hooked it down all the way along the ground to Lever at long leg. And Darling now also is underway. 2 runs there for him. So this duel to be resumed between Lever and Wood.
And Peter Loder's just passed me the message that England have opened with Lever because they feel he's going to be more effective against the left-hander. But he likes bowling the left-handers.
It's an intriguing thing about John Lever is that he can bowl the outswinger to the left-hander. As I said earlier, enormous difficulty in bowling an in-swinger to a right-hander.
Possibly because he's got to push the ball across the right-hander before he swings it in.
That's right. Once he pushes it across, he usually finds it keeps going across. But that's the other one that came back. Good delivery and a good shout, and he's gone. And Wood is out LBW, and Lever surprised him there with the one that came back. And Australia lose their first wicket. The score on 8. Wood goes LBW to Lever for 5.
And I don't think Graham Wood had much to complain about there because he really wasn't forward. It was a pretty indeterminate sort of shot. He didn't commit himself to the front foot or back foot. He just went across his crease with the ball coming into him, pitching outside the off stump. There it goes. And you can see it makes contact with the front pad, but I would say that the front pad was no further forward than about 6 inches behind the popping crease.
St. Hughes, his first ball from Lever. Oh, my word, if he'd had another short leg in, that could have been dangerous. Gets him off the mark with a single. And Bob Willis does the fielding down at long leg.
Lever with his job done. Having removed the left-hander Wood, which he rather fancied he could, is giving way now to Bob Willis, I think the spearhead of the England attack, certainly the most effective bowler that England had in Brisbane.
No ball bouncer.
It wouldn't have made any difference. I think Hughes was committed to the shot before the call came through to him.
What a beautiful shot, 4 runs. Superb square cut by Hughes. He goes on to 14, it's 1 for 28.
Well, there's been some good shots played by English batsmen, but none better than that one. Like a similar, what's this, a beautiful stroke. He gets right over it. That is absolutely perfect, and he really middled the ball. Hughes, I noticed in Brisbane, he gets over the ball very well. He picks this flight of the ball up quickly, and I think just outside the off stump, which I expect this delivery to be, he gets over rather quickly. There's the straight back.
He's bowled it.
Said that, clean bowled him.
What a beautiful delivery too. We'll have another look at that in a moment, but I've got a feeling that may have left Hughes. Anyway, Hughes is out, bowled by Willis for 16, and Australia are now 2 for 34.
That's his delivery. Let's see what happens to this delivery. He just played inside the ball, and the ball definitely a little leg cutter.
The new batsman, Graham Yallop, the Australian captain tonight. Yallop yet to score, facing Hendrick. Oh, what a good one.
Well, that's just what we're saying. He slants it away to the slips, and he's very accurate, as I mentioned, and that was a very good delivery. It completely upended Yallop. But Yallop goes to the push. Very close to the outside edge.
Hendrick to Yallop. There'll be a couple of runs here, or will the Gower giving chase from leg slip? Yes.
Now here's Willis bowling to Yallop. And a chance, and he's bowled. In fact, he's bowled him. Look at Willis, he's racing away to square leg. I thought it might have been edge there. He completely bowled him. And the second one, so Yallop is bowled by Willis for 3, and Australia are 3 for 38.
Here it is there, Graham Yallop just playing down the wrong line and losing his off stump. And this, Norman, I believe, is probably a result of the enormous amount of time that this Australian team have spent in the field, because the dismissal for both Hughes and Yallop, as you can see there, the ball doing not a lot, but just enough, and the reflexes and the response of the players just that little bit slow.
Well, the next batsman for Australia is Tui. You look over his shoulder too at that onside field. There is a deep backward square leg on the boundary, and only one other onside fieldsman. Shot. Good shot by Tui. That mightn't be 4. They've taken 2. Easy 3. And is it a run again? No, there isn't. There's a misunderstanding. The shot at the far end. Is he cut out? He's out. He's out. Tragedy for Australia. Darling has ran himself out for 25. Australia 4 for 60.
The fieldsman at short leg, they're just getting a hand to it, bouncing away from him. Darling coming a long way down. Couldn't turn, and an anxious look, and the umpire said yes.